1 month down already of the Sky Bet Championship, and Argyle off to a relatively positive start. Today, Blackburn are in town and Home Park is ready.
Hello, Chaz. Back again, eh?
Hello and welcome to Home Park for today's pre-match show on Argyle TV with HBH Willicott. My name's David Waldridge. I'm joined alongside by Katie Milton, former Argyle women's captain. And Katie, I think the main objective of today is to get those 3 points on the board.
Yeah, most certainly. I think it's early days in the season. Obviously, the first 2 games went well, picked up 4 points from those and nothing since. So, although performances have been good, results haven't quite gone our way. So, they'll certainly be looking to try and pick up 3 points today for sure.
And that's the thing, in every game so far, whilst the result may not have been there, it's all been impressive, really. Yeah,
really positive performances. And I think the supporters here particularly would be really pleased with how they're playing, the style of play, what Shuey's trying to get them to do, and by getting the ball down on the floor and passing it around and creating chances. I think what's let us down a couple of times has been that sort of final product, so whether that last final pass into the box, the finish, which hasn't quite been as we wanted to be, and then those just moments of switching off at the other end that have cost us with those late goals against Southampton and last weekend against Birmingham. So, yeah, fingers crossed we can put that right today.
And, of course, this side is going to be wanting to get that positive result going into that international break as well.
Yeah, for sure. And, nobody wants weeks away from football, do they? So, particularly if you've got a shoe on a result that hasn't quite gone your way. So, fingers crossed it's 3 points and sets us up nicely then to regroup again during the international break and go again when we come back.
Well, as we were saying before the show started, we've got to play a little bit more than 90 minutes. You've got to play almost 90 and an extra 20 at some points.
Yeah, exactly that. Sometimes we're getting injury time of 10, 15 minutes. So it's not just a 90-minute game these days, and it's at this level you'll get punished if you switch off for seconds. So it's making sure that for that whole time, whether it's 100 and 10 minutes, 120 minutes, whatever, that you're focused that whole time, and we don't concede those last minute goals, which are heart sinkers for everybody watching and everyone involved.
Well, Katie, we've got an absolute stacked Argyle TV pre-match show for you, including a chat with a former Premier League winner, Nikki Marker, will be joining us here in the gantry, who played for both Argyle and Rovers, and of course was part of that Blackburn side that won the Premier League way back in 1994 as well. He'll be joining us in about 30 minutes or so. But concentration is indeed on today's game, the first meeting between these two sides since 2018, and both sides have started off pretty well. Well, in terms of the actual points on the board, but decent performances all the way through. So let's have a quick look at that Argyle side today, which I imagine is much changed from that midweek game. So, of course, Hazard in goal, Pethekwalu, also Gibson, Kessler, Hayden, Mumba, Houghton, Edwards, Azaz, Randall, Hardy, Whittaker, and then on the bench, Burton, Scar, Butcher, Wright, Miller, Warrington, Cundall, Wright and Wayne, as we take a quick look at that side for you there. What are those things that stand out for you at the moment of the Argyle side, Katie?
I think it's the consistency, really, which is the big thing. It's only one change from the Birmingham game last Saturday. Plegazello comes in for Dan Scar. I think there's been murmurings amongst the Green Army during the week about whether we might see Plegazello start a league game. He's done well in the cup games that he's performed in, and I think has captained the side on both occasions that he's played so far. So I think that's the one thing that stands out really, is the big change. But I think Shuey will be pleased that he's got that kind of consistency and can stick the same starting 11 out pretty much. And obviously the strength and depth that's on the bench as well is fantastic.
Well, that's it, and that depth was shown midweek, and to show that they can come on and do a job like that can only be a positive.
Yeah, 100%. And those are players there that can bring goals with them. So yeah, fantastic to have that squad depth.
So let's take a quick look at that Blackburn side for you as well. The opponents today, who have managed 2 wins and a draw so far in the league, including that record 8-0 win on Wednesday as well. So this certainly isn't going to be easy. Pairs in goal for you there: Britton, Pickering, Hyam, Carter, Shamovstisk, Hedges, Moran, Travis, Wharton and Gallagher. And then on the bench you got Wolstelt, Gamble, Wharton, Tronstad, Dolan, Nilesnan, Garrett, Bloxham and Leonard. And what are those key kind of areas that stick out for you from the Rovers side? I mean, Niall Ennis not included in the side there, so unfortunately not going to get a reunion with him this afternoon. But that 8-0 win, I think that's got to be the talking point from Rovers. Yeah,
they're obviously coming into the game off the back of a big win, which will for sure give them confidence. But a lot of changes for them from that midweek game as well. I think they have brought in Moran from Brighton on loan, who's gone pretty much straight into the squad. And I think the one big change for them is the striker. So they were playing Harry Leonard as a lone striker, and today they've gone with Sam Gallagher, who is from down this way anyway, so I'm sure we'll be wanting to prove a point playing against Argyle today. So he's a handful, physical striker who will cause problems if we're not at the top of our game.
And where are those key battles going to be for us, you reckon, this afternoon, between that Rovers side that we've seen on the screen and the Argyle side that we've just seen as well? Because, again, they're coming off 8-0 win midweek. We're coming off a loss, but a good performance from that depth of the side against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I think both teams will look to play the same sort of way. They're both sides who want to get the ball down and want to pass through the thirds and play possession-based football as much as they can. So for me, it's who gets on top early, who can maintain possession best in the opening sort of 10-15 minutes. And I think that'll build confidence and breed confidence throughout the game then. So I think the midfield battle is going to be key today. Can Jordan Houghton pick up spaces to get on the ball? Can Adam Randall get on the ball in areas that he can then be effective? Look to play forwards and get the likes of Barley Mumba and Morgan Whittaker on the ball as much as we can.
And as you mentioned, the man there as well, Gallagher for Rovers, he's going to be absolutely key for them. Definitely one for the back line to keep an eye on. Yeah,
for sure. And, Plegazello and Gibson will both have their hands full for certain. I mean, Gibson we've seen quite a lot of so far at the beginning of the season, and he's done really well. He's a physical player. He likes a battle, and I'm sure that's what Gallagher will give him today. So, certainly an area to look at, but one that hopefully Argyle can get on top.
And just to quickly pick up on what you mentioned about consistency, even though there has been quite a lot of signings coming through the door for Argyle, is it important to have that consistency at the start of the season whilst these new players are kind of gelling together?
Yeah, I think so. And the more they're playing together, the more they're going to build up those relationships, understanding of different players' movement and that kind of stuff. So the more they're playing together, the more that's going to build up, the better relationships they get, and hopefully then you start to see that with results on the pitch.
Well, in the meantime, let's hear from our Argyle boss then, shall we? Because despite seeing his side lose 3 on the bounce, he's still relatively positive as we head into this weekend.
I think it's been a positive start. I think we would like to have 2 more points, ideally. We'd also like to be in the next round of the Cup, but that wasn't to be. But I think the performances have been good. They haven't been brilliant yet, but I think we're getting better. I think from the first game against Huddersfield to where we're at now with our performance level is a lot higher. Now we just need to make sure that the performances that we keep putting in churn out some points. So I would say it's been okay, and we'll keep going.
What have you sort of... I suppose what has been your biggest takeaway as well from the first 4 league matches?
I think that we've shown that we can compete. That was the message. That was what was always in the back of my mind over the summer. We need to put a squad together that can compete with the big teams in this league. So I felt that we've done that. I think we're also trying a new system, which we knew was going to take time to click into gear. But I think everyone can see that there is positive signs that is happening. We obviously need to be a bit more clinical in both boxes, do better at both ends of the pitch, but that was always going to be the case. It was never going to come into the Championship and be perfect straight away. So we'll keep working on the training grounds, keep trying to get it right, but most importantly, keep being positive. That's what I wanted us to be, and that's how we've played.
We've just done a little bit of looking back there. Let's look forward to the weekend. It's Blackburn, it's at home. It's another side that over the last couple of years have been quite impressive. What have you made of them so far this year?
I really like them. What I've seen of them, I think they're a really young team. They've got an average age just slightly below us. They obviously then play with really good energy. The style of play isn't too dissimilar to ours. They like to pass the ball, and there's lots of movement from different people in different areas of the pitch. And they're really good on the counter-attack. They've scored 5 of their 6 goals, I think, on transition. So we need to make sure that we're aware of that, try and do well with the ball, not be careless with it, because they've got a huge threat when they break, because they've got speed, again, not too dissimilar to us. So we know it's going to be a really tough game. I think it should be an exciting game, and hopefully we can come out on top of it.
You mentioned their kind of potency going forward. They didn't do badly in the week as well, did they? Scoring 8. So they'll be high on confidence, clearly. Yeah,
definitely, and another good result before that, away at Watford, so in good form. I say got good players, established Championship players. Now they've become a solid Championship team. They went really close last year, had a real successful season, so I know it's going to be a hard game. There's no easy games in the Championship. There won't be any ones where we think we don't have to be right at it, but again, we have to be positive with what we're doing, get our attributes right with what we're all about, especially here at home park, try and play at a good tempo ourselves and show some quality in the key moments.
A new thing this year is international breaks, so this is kind of like the first chunk of a season. How good would it be to finish this first little section with a positive result?
It'd be brilliant. I think 5 points from the first 5 games would be okay. 7 points from them would be, I think, a really good start, really positive. So we know how important it is. The result is we've obviously lost our last 2 games on the spin, and we don't want to lose 3. So we need to make sure that we perform right and put on, do what we're good at, try and be aggressive, try and be ourselves and take the game to Blackburn where we can, but also be mindful of what they're going to be about. But yeah, I think first 4 games going, the league's been okay, and hopefully we can finish it off so we can say at the end of it, well, it's been a good start.
Stephen Schumacher for you there. Katie, is he right to be so positive?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I think so as well.
I mean, like we said, the results haven't necessarily gone our way in the last couple of games, but at no point in any game this season have we been outplayed. At no point have we been outclassed by the opposition. At no point have we looked like we haven't created any chances, because we have throughout games. So 100% he should be positive about what he's doing here. It's a big step up from going from League One football to Championship football, and it takes a little bit of time for the players particularly to get used to playing at that slightly quicker tempo. Decision making's got to be quicker, and those are all things that will improve. But like I say, there's loads and loads of things to be positive about here, and for sure this team will keep getting better.
And this is the thing, isn't it? I know it's been 3 losses on the bounce, but when you put that into reality, 1 was against a Premier League side, and 2 were just goals right at the death. You know, the team played well, as you said. They were in it. We look like we belong here.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I think you look at the Birmingham game, and actually, for the majority of the second half, we were the team on top. We were the team who had majority of possession. We were creating more chances. It's just unfortunate that, you know, Jay Stansfield comes on and, you know, great finish from him.
Let's not think about it. Let's not think about it.
We won't talk too much about him, but you know, like we said before, it's those small margins sometimes, and that's again the difference between playing in League One and playing in the Championship, is that you make mistakes at this level and things will get punished. So it's making sure that you're switched on all the time. There's not a point where, you know, you let your mind wander a little bit, because those are the times where other teams will take those opportunities and punish us. So yeah, I think, you know, we don't want to see it again today. 90, you know, +5, 90 +6, whatever it is that they're scoring these goals. So yeah, fingers crossed we can stay switched on for the whole game and create chances at the other end.
And you say create chances. We've been pretty encouraging going forward. How would you evaluate overall this first month of the Championship? I mean, we've got a few clips on the screen for you now of those previous games. Of course, our first game against Huddersfield, we did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, I think it's been really positive, and it's not only, you know, the performances as such, but kind of the style of football that we're playing, and getting the ball down on the floor, and getting our creative players in areas where they can make a difference. You know, you don't want to see the likes of Barley Mumba and Morgan Whittaker on the halfway line. You know, you want to see them being progressive and getting forwards. I mean, this clip here was the Mumba goal from the Huddersfield game, and you know, that's what you want to see those players doing more and more of, is being really positive, driving forwards, creating chances. Hardy's obviously got 3 in his first 4 games in the Championship, and that's a really good return for him. Will certainly give him a lot of confidence going forward. So, you know, we've spoken about it sometimes. It's just that little bit of quality in the final third, which at times has let us down. And you know, if we can turn those moments into goals, then you know, for sure results will start to become more positive.
And I mean, most of the time, Stephen Schumacher's tactics have been pretty bang on for the most part, for the full 90 minutes in a lot of cases. And let's be honest, he's still learning what it's like to be manager, still relatively new to the game. And so, actually, he's doing a really good job when you put it into that kind of context.
Yeah, certainly. And, you know, again, we see in these highlights those players that are getting in areas, but they're getting in areas because they're being coached well and they're being set up to be in those right areas, and that's all a testament to what Shuey's doing and what his coaching staff are doing behind him. So yeah, you know, credit goes to the players for stepping up and showing what they can do at this level, but you've also got to give credit to Shuey and the team around him for also taking that step into the next level.
And arguably keeping some, not only that consistency at the start of the season, but bringing it in from last season, that kind of positive attitude as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that certainly goes for here at Home Park. You know, what a fantastic season we had at home last year, winning 20 out of 23 games. So, you know, unfortunate to lose to Southampton a couple of weeks ago. And we'll certainly be looking to build this again as a fortress as we go through this season. No team likes coming down here. It's a long way away from a lot of places. So, you know, you add in travel to the atmosphere here, and teams won't be that keen to come down here for sure.
Well, I mean, I imagine it's been a fairly long journey for Rovers fans today, so hopefully that is a good omen for us indeed.
Yeah, I think they've had 3 away games this week, so they've obviously clocked up a few miles. Hopefully that will start to catch up with them a bit today, and we see a terrible performance from them.
Well, hopefully it wasn't too much of a positive stop at Exeter Services on the way down. I believe there's been a train strike. Thanks for joining us to all the Rovers fans if they are here. You're watching the pre-match build-up though here on Argyle TV with HBH Woollicotts. You can get your UK pass for that audio commentary for just £2.50, and international fans can stream and watch the game live as well for £10. All the detail you need over on pafc.co.uk.
There's nothing like the start to a new season. The energy, the anticipation, the expectation. You know that buzz in the air. You can feel it. It's going to be our year. It's going to be different this time. It needs to be, for all of us. The emotions of the game get to us all. I know all about that. But whether out on the pitch, in the stands, or on the sidelines, we've all got to do better at all levels. No more surrounding refs, no more abuse, no more intimidation, no more discrimination. Leave the pitch to the players. And those offensive chants, you know the ones. There's never a place for them in the game we love. That beautiful feeling at the start of a new season. Don't ruin it. Let's keep it that way, together. Whether you win, lose or draw, let's make sure that this season is different. We all do it for the love of the game. Let's show our pride and passion in the right way. We all love football, so let's protect the game.
So yesterday saw the transfer window slam shut and Argyle complete their business for the season with the arrival of the Sierra Leone international Mustafa Bundu becoming our 10th signing through the door this season and bringing an end to the hard work put together by our recruitment team, of course Neil Dewsnip as well and Jimmy Dickinson as well. So Charlie Price recently sat down with Neil to talk through his transfer dealings.
Hasn't it been absolutely magnificent to be able to recruit properly, if you like, as opposed to on loan? Both Morgan Whittaker and Ballymumba. Their contribution last season was absolutely immense. I need to remind everybody, Morgan only played the first half of the season.
I don't think you need to remind many people. They're very aware, but yeah, the numbers were huge.
Yeah, fantastic. And you know, again, I would thank Simon and the board. We really pushed the envelope to make that happen. And when they both score on the first day of the season against Huddersfield, you can just imagine how pleased we all were. And again, I'm sure everybody would agree. They've encouraged us all in so many ways so far. So that's been fantastic. But not only them two coming in, all the others that have come in we're really excited about as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If there is a set profile which you've laid out before, and it is that sort of younger, hungrier, talented player, and I think all of these players fit that bill, don't they?
Very much so. I think that's important. And I think we shouldn't forget we've got a very young and hungry manager and his staff. So it all pieces together, really. The environment around the training field, and I make sure that I'm out there at least 2 days a week with them. The energy that comes out of training is fantastic. And I think the fans probably don't get to see that. What they do get to see is the energy that so far this season we've produced in the matches.
Yeah. On the loan players as well, so 4 of them have come in. Finn, as obviously we knew about from last season and what he can do. We would have seen Lewis Warrington come in and playing against us for Fleetwood. Luke Cundle and Kane Kessler-Hayden have also made unbelievable impact so far since they've been here in the short period of time. Does the fact that we've done so well with loans, with Finn and with Morgan and with Barley and previously as well, contribute to be able to get that standard of player at this club? Yeah,
definitely. Is this the Plymouth Argyle model that people around the country keep telling me about? I heard another club, I won't name the club, but they said we're following the Plymouth Argyle model. So I had to ring Shuey and say, have we got a model? So we giggled. We do have a model, by the way. We know exactly what we're about. And I think it's an area that I, with my background, understand particularly well, obviously. It's an area that Shuey believes passionately in. So we're not frightened to give younger players opportunities. Sometimes that's not easy when you're in Stephen's shoes, but he seems to handle that very, very well. And I think you've said it, they bring great hunger, great passion, great desire, and they're not bad qualities to have in your team.
And you'll be able to watch that full interview on Argyle TV next week. So, Katie, the summer transfer window is now closed. Overall, how do you think the business has been for Argyle?
Yeah, I think it's been a brilliant close season or transfer window for Argyle. you look at the calibre of the players that we've signed, the calibre of the players that want to come here on loan, says a lot about the football club as a whole, not just the players and what they're doing on the pitch, but the whole club ethos that those kind of calibre of players want to come here and want to play for Plymouth Argyle. So I think it's been some really shrewd business. Getting Barley Mumba and Morgan Whittaker for £1 million each is fantastic business, and we'll reap the rewards of that on the pitch.
And I think that's the key thing as well. There's players that want to come back as well, in the likes of Mumba and Whittaker as well. That says something about the team, because if I'm a player and I see that, then I want to come in and see what's happening at home park as well.
Yeah, definitely. And these are big players who have obviously come through teams that are potentially playing at a higher level than Plymouth have been in recent seasons. So, you're exactly right. Players that want to come back obviously believe in what's happening here. There's obviously a good group of players who everyone seems to get on really well. They've got a good bond here, and that certainly shows on the pitch. So, fantastic that those players want to come back and pull on the green shirt again.
And of course, we had the transfer deadline day dealing as well, our brand new signing, the Sierra Leone international. Do you think it's a signing that was needed? Because we got a few highlights of him here from his time in Spain. Definitely skillful, powerful up front as well. Apparently once played for Newquay way back in the day as well.
Yeah, obviously knows the southwest well, having played once for Newquay. But he's certainly a player that we needed. I think we were slightly light in that area. More competition for Ben Waine and Ryan Hardy, and I think players thrive off that. And if they're starting week in, week out, effort levels potentially start to drop a little bit, because you're going to be in the starting lineup next week. So having that competition for places all over the pitch is really important. You're only ever kind of one injury away from being scuppered if you've got one main striker. So to have backup, whether he'll be back up to Ryan Hardy, whether he'll come in and take Ryan Hardy's place, whether Shuey might change formation now that we've got a couple of strikers, potentially go 2 up top. So it certainly gives us more options and allows us to potentially change the system a little bit at times if things aren't working. So a shrewd acquisition, and we don't know much about him, but let's see what he's about on the pitch and judge him then.
And of course, he's coming from Anderlecht as well. I mean, that's a big side to come from. So surely he'll be able to bring some of that experience from being around a top team like that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And Anderlecht's playing obviously top tier in Belgium and are a good side. So he hasn't necessarily been prolific there, hasn't scored that many goals, but sometimes it's about bringing different qualities to the game. And I don't think currently we have a player who can maybe come short and receive the ball and hold it up. I think he'll do similar things to Ryan Hardy in terms of being able to run in behind. He looks like he's quick, athletic. And I think the other thing to mention is Stephen Schumacher's brought him here as a permanent signing. He isn't a loan signing, so he's obviously seen something in him which he thinks will, bring something to home park. So let's hope he turns out to be a good signing.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because we have had a few loan signings through the door as well. The Villa boys that have come to join us as well. They're looking pretty impressive early on as well.
Yeah, I think Kane Kesler-Hayden's had a lot of plaudits in his opening month or so here, and rightly so. He's a player who's athletic, he likes to get on the ball, he likes to drive forwards, and defensively is fairly sound. I think we had similar last season with Mumba playing in that wing-back role, who potentially wasn't quite as good defensively, obviously lit the field up going forwards, but Kesler-Hayden's a little bit more defensive-minded, does that job well first and foremost, and then he likes to link the play and get involved, and obviously we all know what Finazaz can do from seeing him last season as well. So fantastic to get players of Premier League calibre coming down and starting and getting games here for us.
And that again is such a positive mix as well. Those players returning that are the foundation of last season, and then adding quality on top of that is what you really need to do when you're taking up that extra level coming to the Championship. Yeah,
definitely, and it's always about building quality as much as you can, and without quality on the pitch you're not going to get results at this level. So to bring in players who are proven at this standard anyway, obviously Morgan Whittaker came from Swansea, Barley Mumba was at Norwich, Championship level clubs, so those players have got that experience and can bring that here and potentially then pass that on to some of the less experienced players at this level, the likes of Adam Randall, who haven't played at this level before, but started the season really well. So you need that mix of players who can all gel together and then put out those performances on the pitch.
This is it, because we look at the signings we made, and before there's obviously the players that we know who are here before, those new players that come on board, including Mustafa as well. And sometimes you look at it and you think, well, we don't know a lot about these players, but so far that recruitment team have signed gem after gem. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, just because we don't know much about these players doesn't mean they're not very good. So, you know, the scouting quality here is undoubtedly very good. You know, you'd have to think back probably quite a long way to think of someone who they've signed who's actually been not very good or, you know, not given something to the team. So, yeah, you've got to, again, give credit to that sort of team behind the team, if you like, here at Argyle, who are doing that hard work off the pitch and travelling miles to go and watch players and scout players. So, yeah, just because they're unknowns to us doesn't necessarily mean they're not good players and aren't going to make a difference here.
Well, let's see how those new signings and players from last season do this afternoon, as Blackburn are the visitors to Home Park. And on the way next, we'll be speaking to an Argyle and Rovers legend next.
The away day. A shared passion and commitment. 12,000 miles across the season. Unforgettable memories, past players, the goals. Waiting players, supporters, young and old. Capturing the moment, living the dream. Green Army, belting out the Janusol. The stands, the shirts, the drum beats, the surging crowd moving as a giant wave. Crusaders, one and all. The Green Army.
Welcome back to Argyle TV, the pre-match build-up to Rovers versus Argyle, brought to you by HBH Woollicotts. And now we are in for a treat indeed, as I am joined by former Argyle and Blackburn and Premier League winning defender, Mr. Nikki Marker. Thank you for joining us, Nikki. It's incredible to have you back here at Home Park.
Yeah, very nice. It looks very good, doesn't it?
This place has been bouncing for the past few months. I'm not sure if you've come and visited us before, but it's been incredible, so it's great to have you back.
Oh, it's great to come back. I mean, I came last season to watch the Shrewsbury game. I've come back today. Pitch looks immaculate. Weather's turned out good. Not so good for the players, I wouldn't have thought, because it's going to be very hot, but looking towards a good game.
So, Nikki, I want to wind back the clock with you ever so quickly. When you first went and signed for Blackburn and joined that revolution there, I mean, what a time it was for that side.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough. I mean, Blackburn came in the first year of the Premiership in the October, and that asked whether I would go up to, capable of being a Devon lad, capable of wanting to travel up to Blackburn, and I said yes, of course, because I was playing in the top level of football, and that's all I ever wanted to do. So it was a no-brainer decision.
I mean, you had King Kenny coaching the side there as well. What was it like to have him as your manager?
Well, that's it. I mean, out of all the managers and all that, his knowledge of football was second to none. He was absolutely brilliant, and his way to detail of the games and everything on the opposition was all new experience, because it was greater than what you've been coming across. Every level you step up in football, the intensity becomes even more and more. So it was like more intense, greater, but you had to grasp it straight away. You didn't have options or chances to say, excuse me, I don't quite understand. You either understood or you don't play.
And, of course, you were playing with some absolute legends in that side as well. You had Batty, Hendry, Shearer.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of people like, players there that people would know. Like you said, Lasso, Tim Flowers in goal. You had Sherwood, Shearer and all that lot. It was, to me, it was great. When I first went there, I had Gordon Cowans there, who was like a sub, in the squad and that. And suddenly you remember watching him on the TV, and he was just coming to the end of his time, but he was an English international. Skill-wise, brilliant. David Batty. If he only scored more goals, he'd have been probably the best player, one of the better players in the world. He was brilliant.
So was that almost a starstruck moment for you to go and join him and be alongside him? Because, I mean, you were there on merit.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a starstruck moment. It's the point of, I've got to be as good as these. I want to be playing in this team. I mean, it wasn't a point of, I'm here now, that's it. No, I've got to become as good as these players, and that to be able to compete and to hold my own against all these players. This is the top. This is where you want to be. You've got to be able to compete with everything like that, and it's a step. Every level you go up in football, it's a step up, and it was a step up from Plymouth to the Premiership. It was a big step up. You had to be quicker, you had to be fitter, and everything. But if you didn't do it, they'd soon ship you out.
So that high bar almost brought higher standards out of you in a way.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because you knew yourself you're going home in the first month or so, you're going home tired, but you're pushing yourself and your body will get used to it and it will push itself to that limit. So you are able to compete at that level as long as you've got the quality inside you. And that, it was just a point of getting fitter and stronger and getting your brain working that bit quicker so you can compete at that level. I mean, what Plymouth's got to do at this level, they've come up a level, they are competing, they're getting it, they've just got to carry on competing and that, and hopefully the results for the last couple of terms will turn around.
So, of course, that Premier League winning season as well. I know you had a few injuries along the way, but to be around that atmosphere, to be around that dressing room, that must have been incredible. Yeah, I mean, like I said, anyway, I say about your career, you wish you were playing now. I mean, at the end of the day, I played at the highest level of football. I played in the Premiership, I've scored in the Premiership, I've played in the Champions League. If someone said to me when I was 16, this is what you're going to do, thank you very much. I'd love it, I'd snap their hands up. Yeah, of course, the money wasn't quite as good as what it is now, but that was my time. I've made the most of it and I enjoyed every moment of it. That's such a positive way to look at it, and I'm glad you mentioned the Champions League there. I mean, a very limited number of players ever get to even step foot onto a European pitch. So to play in the Champions League, it's just a level above. It was a different experience. I mean, the only regret probably in the Champions League that we had is out of our draw, you could play AC Milan, Inter Milan, Barcelona, Madrid. We ended up with Spartak Moscow and Legia Warsaw. So we ended up going to the east of Europe and we had Rosenborg that we go to Norway at the pre-season most years anyway. So we had Norway, Warsaw, Poland and Russia was not the most glamorous places in the world, but it was an experience. I've seen it. I was going to say, it's certainly an experience, I imagine, for sure, Nikki. Yeah, I mean, that was it. It's an experience. I mean, Russia, been to Red Square, got the hat, still got it at home, and that's it. And, of course, before you went to Blackburn, before you made those memories in Russia and Poland as well, you had over 200 appearances here at Argyle. How great is it to see us back in the big time? Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, because when I was here and that, we always considered ourselves a League Division 2 side, what is now the Championship. And it was absolutely distraught when we went down. And that this town, city, deserve and the place around, because of the catchment area, you're not only talking just Plymouth, you're talking Devon and Cornwall, and that deserve to be, and it just shows with the numbers they're getting now, deserve to be where they are. And every club that you speak to and that through the land, how well supported you are, Yeah, they are. So just hopefully we can just keep it going. And you never know, in time things might change and you might get a little bit bigger. But at the present moment, we should never be in the first division, because I think that we're better and bigger than that. Whether we're big enough to go into the Premiership, I don't know, but you never know. Well, you're in a quite unique position, Nikki, because you were a part of that side that had all that momentum and had won the league. This side won the league. How do they continue that momentum this season? Yeah, I think it's hard, because everyone's, the worst thing for this team at the present, for Plymouth, Argyle's club, the bookies, and everyone says the bookies are never really wrong, made them favourites to come down. It was a great win the first game of the season, because that gave them a bit of breathing space. They got 3 points. You knew that was going to take them 4 games then before it gets knocked back into your face. Unfortunately, the last 2 games were the 2 draws that they nearly had and they didn't. If they got them, you'd be sitting pretty, everyone would be happy and all that. Because they didn't get them, puts a bit more pressure on this game, because if they don't win today, suddenly they'll be down there and against it, and then they might start thinking about the beginning of the season, what people were saying and all that lot, and they don't deserve to. By all accounts, their performances away from home have been great. They deserve better, but at the end of the day, results count, and it's not performances. Absolutely. Now, Nikki, I could be really mean and ask you for a prediction today, but I know you've got to sit on the fence somewhat, but if you want to give us a prediction, you can go for it. I will sit on the fence. I'll say 2-2. Brilliant stuff. It's best to play as a 2-2. Nikki, thank you so much for your time today. Very much appreciated, sir. So with that then, let's have a closer look at that Rovers side as we catch up with their manager, John Dole Tomlinson, who saw his side score a record 8 goals in the Carabao Cup during midweek, and rightfully is in a pretty good mood. Hello and thanks for joining us on Argyle TV as we build up to this afternoon's game, Argyle against Blackburn Rovers. Let's have a reminder of those starting lineups for you then, shall we? Let's start with that Argyle side. We'll get that onto the screen for you now as we look through that starting 11. Hazard in goal, Pathologiou, Gibson, Kaiser, Hayden, Mumba, Houghton, Edwards, Azaz, Randall, Hardy and Whittaker. And then on the bench, Burton, Scar, Butcher, Wright, Miller, Warrington, Cundall, Wright and Wayne. Katie, talk us through that side. What are you thinking now? I mean, I know there was a lot of changes midweek, but now actually looking a pretty consistent side, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you know, like we said, only one change from the previous game at Birmingham. So an opportunity for Plegatello to come in and show what he can do in a league game. And, you know, we spoke about it before, about trying to find those areas where we can get our creative players on the ball as much as we can. Finn Azaz, I don't necessarily think has shown qualities quite as much as he did at the beginning of the League One season last season, so he'll be looking to find those little pockets of space that he can cause problems in, and then we all know what Mumba and Whittaker can do coming in from the touchline. So an exciting lineup, and hopefully there'll be plenty of action on the pitch to excite the crowd today.
Well, hopefully so. Let's have a look, though, at that Rovers side, who will be playing here this afternoon at Home Park. Of course, that record 8-0 win midweek. Of course, you've got Pears in goal, Britton, Pickering, Hyam, Carter, Schmoskis, Hedges, Moran, Travis, Wharton, Gallagher, the ex-Plymouth boy there. Wolstead on the bench for Rovers, Gamble, Wharton, Tronstad, Dolan, Nilesden, Garrett, Ploxham and Lennard. That is your Rovers side there. So this is a side that it's not going to be a pushover, it's safe to say. No,
for sure. And, you know, they've had some good results of late. You look at their, again, results last weekend, went to Watford and won 1-0. And they're a side who, like I said before, will try to get the ball down and maintain possession and play nice flowing football as much as they can. Very similar to Argyle. But they're also capable of scrapping and winning games ugly. I think against Watford last weekend they only had about 36% possession, but still managed to come away with a win. So it shows that they've got a bit of fight about them. For sure it's not going to be an easy game today, and players in that Rovers lineup that will cause Argyle some trouble. So it's about being switched on early on, trying to get on top in the game as early as we can, and looking to build from there.
Well, Katie, we'll get your final thoughts on the way, alongside that expert commentary from Charlie Price and Aaron Cusack, as well as we have Rovers against Argyle on the way here on Argyle TV.
Let's get it poppin', I'm looking away. Go tell mother I'm cooking the game. Flow like water bubbling up where you want me to make. Taking you back in the day, feeling immaculate, mate. Action packed back to back while you yapping away. I got a knack to react, but I'm packing a grace. To the max with a fact, let me grab the space. I had to map the place, who got a laughing face? One long and strong, looking like a stack full of hate. It goes on and on, way to the back of the bank. This phenomenon's on, I don't even have to say. I'm where I belong, this is not back in the, you know. I go where I wanna, a fair warning for anybody with hair on them. You can't stop me, you get sloppy.
So a big game on the way, the first meeting between these two sides since 2018, Rovers and Argyle. Katie, your final thoughts. What do you want to see from our side this afternoon?
I want to see us being clinical in the final third today. I think that's probably the one thing that's maybe let us down at times over the first month of the season. So clinical passing, clinical finishing in the final third, and then hopefully we get the 3 points.
And this Blackburn side are going to be coming into this game full of confidence. How do Argyle get that upper hand in this one?
Yeah, I think it's about the start. Like we've said, if we can get on top in the first maybe 10-15 minutes or so, play that possession-based football that we know we can do, look to drag them out. If they want to press us, then can we play into those spaces behind? Can we create that space for Ryan Hardy to run into? Let's get those creative players on the ball. But it's not going to be an easy game for sure. You know, Blackburn are where they are through merit. So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting game today.
And I think that's been the story of the season so far, keeping ourselves in the game, but we really do need to start getting that momentum going.
Yeah, and I think as Nikki said, you know, performances are one thing, but, you know, all that counts at the end of the day is the result. And unfortunately, in the last couple of games, those have gone against us. So today it's about putting that right. Yeah, if we can have a similar result to the last time Blackburn were here when we won 2-0, then that would be lovely. But yeah, it's about turning those performances into victories and getting points on the board.
Well, with that, let's have a look at those other fixtures happening in the Sky Bet Championship this afternoon. Your early kickoff saw Birmingham and Millwall draw 1 apiece there alongside Sunderland's big 5-0 win over Southampton. Swansea losing out to Bristol there 2-1. You've also got Coventry against Watford. Ipswich host Cardiff at Portland Road. Also the Yorkshire Derby, Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday, both looking to get their first points there. And Leicester look to continue that 100% start against Hull. Middlesbrough against QPR. Of course, home park here. Argyle against Blackburn. Rotherham against Norwich. Stoke against Preston, and West Brom against Huddersfield. So Katie, that is it. We are on our way. Thank you so much for your help in the build-up here this afternoon. But we'll pass over though. There's just enough time to give you that quick reminder that if you're based in the UK, you can listen to that audio commentary brought to you by Charlie and Aaron for just £2.50. And if you're one of our international fans, you can watch every little bit of the action with that streaming pass for just a £10. You can get all the details you need though over on the website, pafc.co.uk. Can Argyle though get back to winning ways? Katie, you reckon we can do it?
I'm going 2-1.
Absolutely 2-1. You know what? I'm going to go for a 2-0. Argyle Rovers on the way next on Argyle TV.